All right, Aries, welcome into your reading for the first half of September, where we're going to be taking a look at your job and career, love and relationships, and then life path and mission. So something new, if you've been watching the daily card pulls, you may have seen that I had a new deck that this has like crystals, and it's also got sound associated with it too, like sound healing. So there's this QR code, and you can pull it up, and it'll play these different sounds that you can use while you're meditating. But I thought I would pull a crystal card for you to see what the divine is encouraging you or compelling you to use during your meditations during this month. Aqua Aura Quartz. So this is about balance, equilibrium, and flow. So we'll put that one up here. So about finding your balance. Before we jump into the categories that I talked about, we're also going to pull 3 cards to see, just kind of get an overall feel of the current energies for Aries. And this is over all of your life, not those specific aspects that I had mentioned. Something that is coming up in the first half of the month, on the 14th, we have new moon in Virgo. And usually that has to do with kind of new projects, routines, things like that. But with Mercury going direct the very next day in Virgo, it's actually more about focusing on things that you can quickly finish. Maybe things that have stalled out. Maybe they've been sitting there on your to-do list half done for a while. So it's kind of that energy of, all right, let's get it done. Let's move on to the next thing. Let's start checking things off of our to-do list. So, and as a reminder, since I said Mercury will be going direct, Mercury is in retrograde right now. So if you're feeling kind of like wonky, heavy energies, that's probably where some of it's coming from. And also with Venus in retrograde, that is putting a lot of focus and attention on relationships. Sometimes it's kind of that make it or break it energy with relationships, but that heavy energy is out there as well. So Venus goes direct on the 3rd. So some of that will clear up, and then Mercury goes direct on the 15th. Okay, so in terms of your overall energy, we're sitting here at 5 of feathers in reverse, which that's 5 of swords in reverse. 6 of acorns is 6 of wands, and then the magician. So your 6 of wands, that's 6 of wands, which is your 6 of acorns. That is that like victory, kind of triumphant type of energy. And the magician is about turning lead into gold and like transformation. So with this, on this card, it says like willpower and creation as well. With your 5 of swords in reverse, that's kind of resolution, compromise, reconciliation. So it looks like maybe if there had been some heavy energy, you've been able to turn it around. You've found some, like I said, some reconciliation or compromise, which is putting you into that successful kind of triumphant energy, feeling good about that you were able to transform. Maybe if you had some struggles that were plaguing you, you've been able to transform that and kind of getting things back on track, onto a better path. So let's see where that plays out. Like I said, that's kind of an overall reading. We'll see if there's more specific details that are coming through when we look at those individual areas. All right, so let's start out with job and career. In the recent past, you've had your 5 of cups in reverse, currently sitting in the sun in reverse, and next level of energy is the star in reverse. So you've been coming out of this energy of, kind of like finding some sort of acceptance or moving on or turning the corner when it comes to jobs. So if you've been feeling kind of either weighed down or you don't really know what direction to go, it's like you feel like you've kind of turned that corner mentally with some of that. With the sun in reverse, though, there is your current energy. There's a little bit of like pessimism, and it has to do with like your inner child. Like maybe you feel like you're being pushed out of some of your blessings. The next level of energy, there's a little bit of like, I guess, lack of faith or feeling uninspired. So, it could be something where you felt like things have been really tough at work, and then all of a sudden you felt like they were turning around, but then now either you think that turning around isn't going to help, but you feel like there's some struggles there. And let's take a few more cards, because usually if something's turning around, that's usually more favorable, but it looks like there's kind of this like pessimism and maybe lack of faith, or you're feeling like the star is kind of like feeling uninspired as well. So you may have turned a corner on something, but you're not necessarily feeling like you're loving it in terms of what's going on work-wise. So let's pull a couple more cards and see what that looks like. So Knight of Cups and Ten of Cups. So your Knight of Cups energy is like some sort of negotiation or diplomacy. So with that, whatever your situation is, you're going to be able to find some of that at work. Like maybe it's a matter of negotiating a better solution, a better balance, a different way of thinking about things, and that is going to pull in that Ten of Cups. So that this is your abundance. This is that harmony, that happiness. So within, and this is usually when I'm drawing more cards, like in the 3 to 6 month range. So it looks like things are going to be good. You are going to be sitting in that happy, abundant energy. It's just a matter of right now you're kind of, I guess, trudging through the muck. Whether that's that you are unhappy, overworked, maybe things are too slow for you, but it is going to be turning around to where in 3 to 6 months out, you're going to be feeling the abundance, reaping the rewards of having kind of put your nose to the grindstone and kept with it. All right, let's take a look at your love and relationships. Okay. In the recent past, you have Knight of Pentacles. You're sitting in the Queen of Swords energy. And then the next level of energy coming in is the Hermit in reverse. So you're coming off of this energy of, you've put in a lot of hard work and patience within your relationship. And that has pushed you into this like kind of open-minded energy and perceptive and independent. So able to kind of, moving past if you had issues with like codependency, like you're getting a little bit more of that independence within your relationship. And the next level of energy coming through for you is this Hermit in reverse is a little bit of like withdrawing from loved ones and kind of some sadness or like rejection or exile. So it almost gives the impression of, you've been working really, really hard, but it's pushed you into a place of independence. So your hard work at trying to, I guess, figure things out within the relationship has actually pushed you, instead of pushing you closer to the other person as you're working it out, it's almost pushed you into your own space of saying, I've been working really hard. What is it that I'm hoping to accomplish? Because when you look at the independence with the open-mindedness, it's almost that sense of, am I in the right place? And it's going to kind of cause you to withdraw. Like if you're fine with that independence and being on your own, it kind of makes you question, why am I in, that relationship type of feeling. So that's kind of what's pulling you, I guess, away from your loved ones, or kind of a little bit of that sadness type of energy as you try to navigate what the next steps are. So let's see like 3 to 6 month time frame, what that looks like. So we have 2 of Wands in reverse and then 6 of Wands in reverse. So your 2 of Wands in reverse is, there's a little bit of like you're avoiding any sort of change, and there's this element of indecision, and then there's kind of this disappointment on the heels of that. So it's like you're not really making any decision, like you are at a place where you're kind of withdrawing from this relationship. So you're withdrawing and it's making you sad, and then all it does is it pushes you into even more of a place of indecision, but you're still failing to plan for the future. You're failing to make a change, and you're just kind of sitting there like, okay, what's next? What do I do? What do I do? And then your Six of Wands energy comes in where there's this kind of disappointment. So, some of this is a matter of, when you have that failure to plan, like you're withdrawing and you're failing to plan, it'll oftentimes lead you to that place of disappointment, because if you've been praying for guidance or help, there's a difference in kind of surrendering to the universe, surrendering to the divine, and just throwing up your hands and saying, well, I don't know. So it's that idea of the universe or God is not going to pluck you from your living room and put you somewhere else. The universe will give you opportunities and will show you, okay, here's a path you can take towards happiness, but it's not going to move you and put you on that path. So if there's this indecision where you're avoiding making changes, this is kind of that message of really, really be honest with yourself and why are you avoiding making changes? Because all it's going to do is lead you to more disappointment. Like the situation isn't going to change itself on its own. So some of it, as I had mentioned, Venus is in retrograde, which is really putting a strong lens or strong focus on relationships. So it does go direct early September. And so your energy will be slowly returning. But if you've been feeling like you've had this really heavy energy as it relates to your relationship or your love life, now would be a good time to journal and remind yourself of what it is that you're feeling, and then kind of check back in a week or in 2 weeks and see if it still feels that way. So Mercury retrograde is going on for most of the first half of the month, and that also affects your communications and technology and whatnot. So if there's a serious conversation that needs to be had, make sure you're having it in the best possible situation or circumstances, knowing that communication is severely affected by Mercury retrograde. So some of it too is, Chiron is in retrograde, and that is about healing our identities. So it could be a situation where, you put in a lot of hard work because that relationship was part of your identity, but now it's like, but what do I do now? Because now I'm sitting in this, energy of independence. Do I really want to be continuing to put in this hard work in a relationship where maybe I'm not getting anything back? So there's also Pluto's in retrograde, and Pluto's kind of the great destroyer, and it'll be in retrograde until October 10th. And that's about power struggles and kind of challenging your own toxic behaviors. So it could be that maybe, you need to take a look at what are the behaviors, what are the patterns, what's the energy that you're bringing to a relationship, and see what is it that you could work on. What is it that you maybe need to heal in order to find your happiness? So that is on love and relationships. And let's take a look at this is your life path and mission. Empress in reverse, death in reverse, Three of Wands in reverse. So the Empress in reverse, you've been kind of maybe feeling a lack of creativity when it comes to your life purpose or your life path, kind of that sense of maybe being unappreciated, and you have like some dependency issues, like maybe you haven't been stepping into your path because you have a maybe a codependent relationship that's been altering your path or maybe keeping you from your path, which is leaving you currently sitting in this energy of like resisting change, and there's not really much movement. Some of it's like an unwelcome or inevitable change. So in terms of with your life path, it's that feeling that it doesn't feel right. Like you don't feel like you're creatively inspired on your life path. Like you haven't been feeling that way. So it's leaving you kind of in this blah mood, but it's also putting you in that energy where you don't really want to do anything. Like you're not motivated to make a change there. And some of it could be that the energies are just so heavy right now that it's really causing causing you to almost kind of shut down a little bit. Because the next level of energy coming in is this Three of Wands in reverse. It's about obstacles and frustrations and still clinging to the past. So this line here looks like and feels like, you have felt uninspired in terms of your life path, but you're scared or unmotivated to change it, probably because it's going to have this ripple effect across your life. But the interesting thing is, so when we look over here at the overall reading for the month, there is this energy of you're making these transformations. You're doing kind of like you're doing the things you need to be able to change that energy, and kind of make compromises, or finding what the solution is. So it looks like even though some of this has this heavy energy, it's showing signs that you're starting to piece it together. So maybe not, I would say maybe not by the middle of the month will you have this all worked out, but it's like some of these things are starting to come together. So this whole balance and equilibrium and flow, they're starting to come together a little bit in your mind. Also, Neptune is still in retrograde until December 6th, and that's about confronting illusions. And, Saturn's in retrograde until November 4th, and that's about how do you attain your goals? Where are you investing your energy? So some of it's a matter of, how do you find this life path? And I think these are all kind of flowing together in terms of, if you can have your life path align somewhat with your career, you'll be in a position where you don't work a day in your life when you love what you do, like that type of mentality. So let's take a look at some oracle cards and see what else is coming through for you. Oh, we had a jumper card there. Jewel within a teardrop, and that's appreciation, spiritual and emotional reconnection. Oh, and another jumper card, peace, dissolving unwanted or disturbing thoughts. So in terms of finding peace, if you're in this position where your relationship has kind of left you feeling almost abandoned, and so I hate to use the word abandoned with Queen of Swords, but since that is kind of that independent, I am my own person, if it's leaving you feeling like, hey, it's more of like a ships passing each other in the night as opposed to a relationship. Part of it is, you need to dissolve some of these unwanted thoughts. But if it's driving you to loneliness, it's how do you find peace within this situation? And sometimes the peace is changing. So that is what we have here on our Gaia cards. And then our next one, let's take a look at our moon cards and see what energy is coming through here. Conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse. So sometimes in order to move on to the next part, like if you're trying to find your mission, if you're trying to move to the next lesson, something has to change, because if you already have a full plate, you don't have the energetic or mental bandwidth to make a change or to do something new. So something has to end in order to give you that space to start something new. So conclusions are within reach, and look for the beauty in the rain. So even if you're sitting here, like if this path is that there's a relationship that needs to end or change, or maybe a job that needs to end or change dramatically, as opposed to seeing it like, oh, it's raining, things are terrible. Look for what are the lessons there, and what have you learned that's going to make the next cycle better for you. So they say you either win or you learn. So if you feel like this cycle has not been about winning, it's been about learning, so that way you can step forward into the next situation with a little bit more clarity, a little bit more focus in terms of what it is that you want. So I hope this message has been helpful for you today. As always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. And check out, there's some other videos that have recently posted. I'll be doing a twin flame one within the next week for those of you who are on a twin flame journey. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.